Okay. So speaking of access to resources, the one that was alluded in the article we just went through, you take us back to this week, June the 5th to the 11th, 2000, marked, in 2024, marked 24 years since the Six-Day War in Congo. And the Six-Day War in Congo was actually a war that, which is quite funny, a war that was fought by Rwanda and Uganda in Congo for control of Congo's resources. You can't make that stuff up. So I've gone into The Economist, and our friend The Economist would always give us a very nice. They said Uganda, Congo's hidden war. This was how it was reported in year 2000. Uganda and Rwanda used to be friends for nearly 2 years now. They've been fighting each other in Congo with devastating consequences. They could not agree who had started the war in Kisangani. Kisangani is in the eastern side of Congo, and it's near the rich resource area of Congo. Nor who ended it. For 6 days last week, Rwanda's and Ugandan soldiers on foreign soil and more than 500 kilometers from home rained shell and mortar fire on each other, killing up to 250 civilians in this sprawling riverside town in central Congo, wounding over 1,000. Much of central Kisangani, including the imposing cathedral at the river edge, was destroyed. It was the third and by far the most brutal times these two armies have battled for control of the town since they began fighting each other. And this is one very critical part. It is dispiriting enough that Rwanda's president, Paul Kagame, and Uganda's president, Yoweri Museveni, old friends, once described part of a new generation of African leaders, should be at war. It is doubly so that the wider consequences should be so grave. The struggle waged deep inside Congo is a serious setback for efforts by the United Nations and others to help Africa solve its wars. That last part is key. To help Africa solve its wars.
Right.
Your take.
It's propaganda, of course. It's not Africa's wars. It's
a war of resources.
Corporate war of resources. It's imperialism. It's much more a modern itineration. It's a bit much more clever than the brute colonialism of the 19th century and the parts of the 20th century, of course, where now you outsource the brute face that was manifest by European soldiers committing massacres against Africans. Now, when you have Africans doing it, African armed forces, specifically Ugandans and Rwandas, on behalf of imperialism, you can't say this is colonialism anymore. So it allows these corporations to whitewash their crimes and say, see, as the economist says, solving Africa's wars. Why would they want to solve Africa's wars? Think about it. Logically, it does not make sense. And I keep reminding sisters and brothers, you have to know history. And then it makes you, it allows you to understand what we see in our contemporary era. At one point, as Walter Rodney kept reminding us, we, as African people, were seen as merchandise, commodities, correct? And shipped all over the world to provide our labor for free to develop these places. So it's a process. The countries that are now industrialized, the wealthier countries, have always benefited by exploiting us as human beings, as human resources, and later on, our mineral resources. It started before the technology developed with rubber. It was ivory, It was food stock, and then later on, of course, mineral resources, petroleum, gold, copper, diamond, uranium, cobalt, coltan, you name it. Always benefiting people outside Africa. So, as old school root colonialism ended, it was essential to find new ways. And you read briefly what Nkrumah was talking about, neocolonialism. So neocolonialism, now you outsource some of the work that used to be performed by Europeans to Africans, because then the optics are much more sanitized, right, in terms of protecting the European image, you know? And then you build up the propaganda of Africans always being at war, right?
Yes, yes.
You know, they just wake up and they say, I'm feeling African today. Let me go and kill another African. you know, that's how it's projected, you see? So now, the economist is talking about Rwanda and Uganda fighting, you know, look at these Africans once again, when in fact, they were fighting to see who would be the number one, how can you say, the field, the house Negro, right? The house Negro on behalf of Western corporate imperialism, you know. So they thought, no, it can't be two of us. I want to be the chief, you know, Negro in charge, Kagame. No, Museveni wants to be the chief Negro in charge. So you come through me if you want to steal Congo's resources, right? So now, Kagame has his army in Congo, Museveni has his army in Congo, and both of them want to be the errand boy, you know, of the role that has now been designated to Ruto. At that time, Museveni and Kagame were contesting, you know, it's me. And that is why they fought in a neighboring country over resources that don't belong to them, over resources that they can't even use because their economies are primarily agricultural, not industrial. The resources they steal from the Congo are then shipped from Uganda to Europe and North America and to Asia, to the factories there. Same thing, the resources that are shipped to Rwanda. So they're killing fellow Africans on behalf of corporate industrial imperialism. And that, what year was that? That was
2000.
That's 2000, and today, in 2024, that same war is still continuing in Eastern Congo. And both Museveni and Kagame are still involved, still contesting to see who will be the chief Negro in charge.
That's the beauty of history. The mere fact that 24 years ago, you're still having those echoes today. And the same framework, the same players, the same actors are in play over the same match. So that's little side note there to help Africa solve its wars. These are not wars, like you said. These are not wars fought for the benefit of Africans. These are wars fought in order to be the go-to errand boy. For
these are highly profitable wars.
Yes,
as most wars are, by the way. You know.
Well, war is business, isn't it?
Except for the victims, of course. There's 7 or so million Congolese that have perished in these wars since 1997. You know.